how has social media affected like the guitarists you see coming in now versus years ago? Do you feel like they're better prepared because they have access to that, or are like there holes in their ability and musical awareness?
I think it's had a profoundly negative effect.
Wow, really? God, I thought it would be the other way around. I think about all the Guitar Mike content I put out there and how, like for example, the triads thing. Like I didn't know my triads. I went to Berkeley and I learned them in like that semester, and it's like I didn't know that I was supposed to be working on them. So I wonder like what things fall through the cracks. Like there's not your average 12-year-old trumpet player can read better than guitar player, and your average, drummer is going to understand basic subdivisions and rhythms on like a whole other level than a guitarist who's been playing for 10 years. And I guess just culturally, I wonder why that is. But um, so if you would say that social media and all of those resources have had a deleterious effect on their level of playing.
I think so. Yeah, it's funny because yes, I mean everything you say is true, and people do put out good content. You put out good content. I appreciate it. I'm glad to see you put those triads out there and interesting scales and things. Well, you try to balance. I see what you do, and you try to balance sort of ear candy with fundamental stuff that will, so one thing gets their attention, the other thing perhaps they will be drawn into it. Um, but it's not really the educational content, which is vast beyond the imagination. Though some of it is not particularly well done. You can always find something to learn on YouTube. Always, doesn't matter who you are or how good you are, but the perception of a young guitarist or instrumentalist of any kind, particularly in the world of learning guitar, which is kind of a solitary pursuit in many ways, um, as opposed to like saxophone, where you might be playing in the school band or in the jazz band and more involved with other people, particularly if you're not a guitar player playing in the jazz stage band at your high school. You're a rock guy or whatever, and maybe you have a band, maybe you don't, and maybe it feels like a band is less necessary because you're going to play with your backing tracks and you're going to go to your resources for learning tunes. But that's the first thing.